Welcome to Midlife Matters. I'm Marie, and each week I'm joined by my friends Julie and Mindy to talk about all the topics keeping women in the middle years up at night. Today we're talking about skincare, hair, and makeup. Join us as we share ways to stay current in these areas while aging with style and attitude. Let's get started. Listeners, today we're talking about skincare, hair, and makeup. This episode is inspired by the book we're reading, French Women Don't Get Facelifts by Mireia Guiano. Each month we're doing one or two chapters from the book, and as with all our book episodes, you do not need to be reading the book to enjoy this episode. So join us as we explore how to be comfortable in your own skin, seeing ourselves as we really are, and developing a plan for aging. And Mindy and Julie, we're doing actually 3 chapters today, so we're really giving listeners the brief overview of skincare, grooming, and beauty and makeup. So we kind of felt like those 3 all went together.
Definitely. Honestly, I'm learning and growing along with you. So Marie, I really look forward to what you have for the makeup category.
This is I have definitely the least. When she was asking questions, I was like, I don't know if I really care about any of this, but I know that I should.
Hey, she said less is more, so that's perfect.
I know.
You're already living it. You're already doing what she's describing.
Yeah. Well, first, let's talk about skincare. And I read her chapter on skincare, and there's a ton in there. Julie, do you kind of want to give us an overview of what her chapter was about?
Well, I did like that she took an opportunity at the beginning of this chapter to talk about the title a little bit more. Mm-hmm. You know, it's called French Women Don't Get Facelifts, and there's very little mention of facelifts in the book. And she said, facelift is kind of a catch-all term for dramatic, invasive attempts by women to suddenly turn back time or significantly alter nature. So there can be other ways that people do this besides going under the knife. You know, it could be how they wear their makeup or their clothes or their hair. It's more of an attitude, I guess. So I appreciated that because I kept waiting, she doesn't talk about that much.
Right.
And one other thing that she said is when you do something that's kind of drastic, that looks unnatural, you're saying to the world, I've done something not natural. And that alone, she said, is a persuasive argument against most miracle interventions. Anyway, to the French, anyway. I'm not so sure in America that holds true. But I line up with that philosophy personally, so I enjoy hearing what she says.
Oh,
right,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciated how she delved in at the beginning of this chapter as well. And it's a really long chapter. And so I appreciated that she took some different accounts of different friends and kind of described even kind of what they do and what different, friends from different places do generationally, what was passed down to them. And I think that's pretty interesting, when you look at your life and you think about your mom, you think about your grandma, and you just think about kind of what were you given in the way of skincare when, this is something that you have to learn and you just pick up naturally. And I mean, now I know my daughter can learn everything from TikTok or, there's all these online things. But I remember as a teenager, whatever I didn't get from my mom or my grandmother, I was picking up from the 17 magazine and all the makeup and skincare tutorials and stuff like that. But I mean, there's just so much information. So I appreciate she's actually simplifying the information for us in this book to her realm of knowledge and scope.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If I think about my grandmother, I think I remember that she liked a bar of Dove soap,
to use on her face.
Yeah. Because it was supposed to be so pure. And I think soap was what I was handed down. Seriously.
One of the things that I kind of take away from this chapter or just from society in general is that whatever you're using should be gentle and that you should be using as little as possible of whatever you're using. And also that you need to replace moisture. So I guess those would be the 3 things that I really take.
Yeah. Those are good takeaways for sure.
One thing I liked, she said, French women have been using the Nivea line forever the way Americans use the Vaseline line.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt good about that because these are drugstore products. Like, she doesn't always say you have to go out and get Lancome or Estee Lauder and spend $100. Like, there are good products that are available in the drugstore. And I like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, you guys, so in all fairness, we actually read this chapter last month and thought we were going to talk about it a month ago, but we didn't. But because I read it a month ago, I actually incorporated something that she said from one of her friends. And so I wanted to talk about it.
Yeah.
I now have had a month's time to do this kind of survey to see if this actually works. But she mentioned she has a friend that uses argan oil, and she uses argan oil like in place of lotion. And I thought, I wonder if I made that simple switch. First, I wonder how my face would handle that. Like, I'm used to using, a brand from like Ulta or Sephora, and it's kind of a lightweight everyday moisturizer. Well, I did buy argan oil, and I got the bottle in Amazon, super easy. Actually, not that expensive. It's organic and everything, but it's kind of been a game changer. I'm actually almost out of the bottle that I got. And I thought it was going to last like forever. But what I'm doing is, I know like I have sun damage from, years ago and things like that. And so my skin, I'm in the sun a lot. And so to moisturize your skin at our age, it's hard. I feel like I'm constantly like my body just eats it and it's gone. So I've been using the argan oil like on my shoulders, like my chest area, like where I have had kind of more sun damage, my hands, my elbows, tops of my knees if I'm wearing shorts. And at night, I'm putting it on my face and on my neck and everything. It is actually a very lightweight oil. I do feel like my skin's a little more like luminescent. I'm not brave enough to use it on my face in the morning, like before makeup, but it actually kind of dries pretty sheer. So this is something I have incorporated. And I would have needed somebody else to know I did this little, trial and error to tell me like, does this look different or does it not? But I feel like I don't know, it's felt really good. I would actually highly recommend it.
Okay. And now do you find that it can stain your clothing because it's an oil?
It's an oil. Haven't seen any type of
not on
residue.
Your pillowcase or not?
Not my pillowcase, and not like the shirt that I wear to sleep in. Like, I know I've gotten it on there.
Yeah, I think it's pretty light. I've used it from Trader Joe's. They sell argan oil.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've been really happy with it. It kind of gives your skin a hint of a glow, but I do also tend to get oily, that weird combo of dry and oily. But it's not too much of a glow. Like, it doesn't look oily. Somehow it dries very well. And I can send you the link of the one that I bought from Amazon.
Okay. No, that'd be great.
Okay.
Yeah. I know in the past few years, I've pretty much gotten rid of all face wash. I don't put any soap on my face at all. Unless I really wore a lot of makeup. So what would that be, like 2 times a year?
Oh my gosh.
I just felt like, why? Why am I stripping away? Even if I've been super sweaty that day, I just let water rinse it off. I don't put any soap on my face. I don't know if that's doing anything good or not, but I just feel like, why would I be stripping away that natural oil? And it's not like I break out or anything, so I don't know. I already kept the same bottle of face wash for probably 3 years, and now I can keep it for probably a decade or longer.
So Marie's on one extreme. I'm on the extreme. I cannot imagine not wearing makeup every single day, at least a little bit. That's just who I am. All right, Julie, where do you fall in this mix?
I guess I'm in the middle.
Really?
I mean, I do wear makeup and I do wash my face, and I do, because my face still breaks out, y'all. Does it?
Me too.
This is so unfair. I'm looking for younger skin, and I think, okay, I didn't mean a 15-year-old skin, with acne, but I still have it. I don't get it. So I still have to, my skin is, when you go and look for moisturizers or makeup, they ask you, is your skin oily, dry? And you would think at 58, it would be dry.
Yeah.
And in some places it is, but some places it's not. So that's frustrating.
Yes. I'll still break out too. And also, like, there's all these products that, like you spray it on after your makeup to give yourself a glow. I'm like, I'm glowing all the time. I'm trying to cut down on the glow. Like,
one other thing I think is important, and I think she probably did talk about this, was, I mean, I use a drugstore product, Oil of Olay, but it has SPF 15, and I've used it for, 30 years. And I really think putting SPF 15 on your face every day, I mean, I do it without thinking, because it's just in there. But I do think probably over the course of those decades, it just does. I don't really want to put 50 on my face. Like, to me, that's just a very heavy. I just want, something light daily. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, who knows? Because you can't see a picture of how you would have looked with or without something.
Right.
But I do think it can't hurt to have the SPF in whatever you're having. Like, I know some people like it in, like, if they're using some kind of foundation or their moisturizer or just whatever,
Do you find, Mindy, though, that when you put on something that has sunscreen, that it messes with your whatever you put on next? Like, it kind of makes it grainy, or...
Oh...
I've not noticed exactly which products do it, but
okay,
you know what I'm talking about?
I do actually. I've had products. Yeah, I've had products in the past that I have had to kind of stop using, and so my favorite thing that I'm using right now is the tinted. I think it's the CC cream from Thrive Cosmetics.
Yes, I use.
And so that is my favorite product because it's everything in one. It's a very light, daily, like tinted. It's kind of a foundation. It's just very light, but it has the SPF in it. It's the first thing that hasn't kind of bothered my skin because I'm real sensitive. Like, if they're like the Neutrogena products that I used to use, some of them, there's a smell to the SPF, and then also it'll make my eyes water. Like, I'm kind of allergic to it. So I just have to be real careful. It has to be very light.
Was this the chapter where she mentioned different foods you could eat for your skin?
Yes.
I thought that
until
was
she said oysters, and then I was like,
no,
she mentions that for everything.
She does.
She really likes
She's a huge fan of the oysters, but thankfully, like, she always like follows that up with like spinach. I'm like, okay, I'll eat spinach.
I can do that.
I feel like there was one more that I didn't know was so good.
Bananas, Marie.
Oh,
bananas.
Yes, bananas.
Bananas and peanut butter.
I didn't know that bananas were so good.
Yeah, I've never heard that about bananas either, related to skin anyway.
Yes, I was super thrilled about that. One thing that she says, that she kind of gave some organization for our thoughts at the beginning of this chapter. I just wanted to go ahead and point it out. And she said they call it the 3 Ps: prevention, planning, and preparation. So I think sticking your head in the sand is not really how we should probably tackle our skincare. Even though we might not be happy, or maybe even if you haven't really thought about it in the past, or it can be very confusing actually to know what to use or how to use it or when to use it, because everybody has a different philosophy when you start asking them about skincare. I know for myself, like I mentioned, it's taken some trial and error to find products that don't bother my eyes or my skin, that don't irritate me. And also that's light, and I don't feel like it takes me an hour to do my skincare routine. Like, it's going to have to be very simple and doable. So that's something that you almost have to learn on your own, trial and error. But those 3 Ps, prevention, planning, and preparation, when thinking about kind of your routine, your skin, your genetics.
Well, and like you said, what you're willing to do. Like, I did the Rodan and Fields for a while, and it's like, I just can't keep that up. 4 steps at night, 4 steps in the morning. I just don't know.
It's a lot.
There's got to be something easier. Yes. And I have found much easier. So,
yeah. Plus, I think it's good to keep in mind that all of this is still not going to stop time. If you live to be 80, you are still going to have wrinkles. Like, none of these creams are going to prevent forever. Like, you can slow down maybe how quickly you look older, but you are going to look older because you are older. And I think we can get really down on ourselves and think, oh, well, I should have used this magic potion, or this magic potion isn't working. There are no magic potions. Like, you're going to get wrinkles. You are going to experience these changes. It happens to everyone. I don't care if they've had all the money in the world. If all they've had are access to creams and natural things like the majority of us do, they are still going to look their age at some point.
Yes.
Yeah. And I have to wonder if the $20 cream, this makes me think of Frankie Heck buying her. Do you remember when she bought the eye cream? And
Yes.
I think she thought it was $20 and it was $200.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And, I really don't think, because none of it is studied and proven, that there probably is a big difference in the 20 and the 200. Really. I think it just plays to our vanity to think, well, if I spend more, it's got to be better. And I really don't think it is. And that's one thing she said, as far as serums and creams go, at least they do no harm. And so now they might harm your pocketbook, she said. But that's why I'm a little willing to just try different things, like the argan oil or, a mask or whatever.
Right.
I've tried glycolic acid, and my dermatologist has given me retin-A cream. But I feel like they're not harmful, so I'm willing to try different things.
Right.
One thing I tried, and I'm still kind of like you, Mindy, I've been doing it for about a month, is collagen. I have read so much on collagen, and I just had a hard time. One time I bought the powder that you mix in your coffee.
Right.
You
Talk
don't
about
taste
ruining
it.
a good treat.
Well, you don't taste it. But the thought of it, thinking where collagen came from.
No.
And now it's in my coffee. And then I read, well, some collagens aren't absorbed. And, you have to make sure you get the right source. And then you want it to be organic. And so I was real leery of putting something in my body every day that I didn't know where it was coming from. Well, I was at Costco one day, and it was sample day. So they had
Costco.
Yes. So now I'm trusting my life to Costco collagen.
I would.
It came in a bottle, and it was a liquid, so you didn't have to mix anything, and you just take a tablespoon of it, and it tasted good. It tasted like berries, just fruit, and you keep it in the refrigerator. And so I am giving that a try. So,
oh wow!
But they said that it's collagen's a protein that makes up more than 80% of your skin and weight, and as you age, it starts to, you produce less collagen. So that's what most non-surgical approaches to wrinkle reduction focus on, is collagen. So I thought I'd give it a try.
Okay.
So Julie, that's the one thing that I do. You mentioned the retin-A from your dermatologist. That's the one thing that I do, because when you go to the dermatologist and you're middle-aged and you're like, well, I'd like to try to prevent some of my fine lines and wrinkles. And also I still have breakouts, and they're like, retin-A. And so that is the one thing that I get from the dermatologist, that I use every night. I don't know if it's going to make a huge difference, but in every other category of my skincare, it's very simple. I use Cetaphil products, drugstore products, something very light. And then now the argan oil has really made a difference in my routine, and it's simple. It actually feels really good. I can't wait to go through the winter with it, actually, to see how it works with really, really dry skin. But I will say, similar to Julie, I have been in certain seasons of life where I have spent a lot of money thinking a skincare routine is going to solve all of my problems. It did not. It also cost a lot. It was not sustainable. I did not want to do the processes every night and every morning. It was way too much stuff. And every time I come back to simplify. Plus, a lot of products out there burned my skin. And my skin was too sensitive for them. And I used to think when I was younger, well, no pain, no gain, stick it out, let it burn, let it do its work. No, don't do that. Just be nice. It's miserable.
All right. Well, I think this skincare chapter was good if it only just kind of reconfirmed what we've kind of discovered over the years. Our next chapter was grooming. And really it's about grooming, but she mostly just covered hairstyles.
She starts off talking about her stylist. His name is Peter, her hairstylist. and how when she goes to him, she said she always just feels her best when she comes out of the salon, and she gets a lot of compliments on her hair, and people ask her where she gets her hair cut. And so she said, your hair shows your attitude towards aging. She said, do you have a great stylist? And she said, if not, why not? And then she kind of goes into like some ways to find one, and how to find a good stylist, and that if you don't have one, keep looking.
So what did you guys think of that? Like, your hair shows your attitude toward aging. That line stuck out to me too. What did you guys think about when you read that?
I agree. I always think a good haircut is just the most noticeable thing about someone. I feel like I used to have that. Like, I had a great stylist when I lived in Memphis, and it's hard when you lose that person, you know, like I moved, and I actually drove home to Memphis for the first 3 years to get my haircut by her.
It's worth it.
Yeah, she was one of those people who you wouldn't really tell her what you wanted. She said, well, according to your face shape and the texture of your hair and, you know, your skill level, your ability to do this, mine was low. She goes, this is what I think you need, you know. And for years, I guess I had the Monica haircut, you know, like it flipped up. And so that's kind of my go-to look. And then it was like, well, I don't know if that's in style anymore. So I kind of quit wearing it. And, but yeah, I miss her.
I'm thinking, what's her name? Let's all go.
Well, I know
Mickey was her name.
They talk about how a good hairstylist will talk about the shape of your face and all that. I've never had a single hairstylist that addressed the shape of my face.
No, me neither. Really? But I feel like I've had a good hairstylist. So, but yeah, that was not ever. I'm the one worried about that.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm Googling. When I was younger, I was like, oval shaped face, you know, like,
yeah,
it's hard though when you can't have the hairstyle you want because of your face shape. Like, now I'd like long hair. Well, my face is kind of just narrow, longer and narrow. So I need something kind of chin length, you know, but it's like, so I fight against that instead of just going what's probably best. But
Well, have you ever stopped a stranger and asked them who cuts their hair? This is something that she recommends.
I've done that several times. In fact, that's how I found Mickey.
Okay.
I remember being out and seeing this lady's haircut, and I just loved it. And I was afraid to ask her. So whoever I was with, they went up and asked, who cuts your hair? And that's how I found her. And I've done that. I've probably done that 3 times in my life, or even asked, can I take a picture of your haircut to take to my person? So, yeah.
I know my mother has done this. I've never done it, but she's not afraid to do it.
Oh, yeah. My first answer is, have I ever stopped a stranger to ask about their stylist? Yes, many times. And so, like Julie, every time I move, I'm in that, you know, place of trying to find somebody new.
Mindy. That's true.
And you guys, you kind of put yourself out there a little faster each time. It's like, just rip the Band-Aid off, just go on up to them. And you guys, it's always at the gym.
Oh.
So that's the funniest thing.
A good picture of their hair at the gym.
Right. I know. I can tell.
Okay.
I can tell by how their ponytail lays.
Okay.
And then of course, if I see them in public, or if it's that, you know, I like their blonde highlights, because not every stylist does blonde very well, or at least the way you want the blonde done. So, you know, I'm looking at a lot of different things and how healthy their hair looks. And so, yes, many times I will ask for a good stylist, and I've had good recommendations and bad recommendations.
Okay. I can totally get that, Mindy. You've had to put yourself out there with moving so many times. You can't just randomly be picking names out of the phone book. Like, you've got to just ask people.
Yeah, I can see how that would be probably the first thing I'd ask. I'd want to find that person quickly.
Very quickly, because you guys know it's hard to get on somebody's schedule that's really good.
Sure. Yeah. All right. Well, what's your worst bad haircut experience? Do you guys have one?
I actually haven't had one recently, but in high school, I remember getting brave enough to ask a girl in my high school where she got her hair cut. And I went to this person, and this was kind of a high-end salon. And I don't normally go to salons that do this. I have seen some here in Franklin, but they had tiers of stylist.
Uh-huh.
And so I made the appointment under this man and I got his apprentice. Oh my goodness. It was where I cried for days because
terrible,
it was a short haircut. You know what I mean? Like if I got my haircut now and it just wasn't perfect, it'd be okay. But this was a short haircut. And it was my mom remembers me coming home just, it might not even been that bad, but I hated it. So I remember after that, I always made sure I got the appointment with the person that was going to cut my hair was who I made the appointment with.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And, I was young. I knew when I walked in, this wasn't that person. And I didn't think to say, no, like I just kind of thought, well, how bad could it be? I thought. Right. So, yeah.
It can be bad.
Yeah, it can. It really can.
Yeah. I can think of a lot of haircuts I haven't been happy with over the years. I think the worst haircut experiences happen. And I think I get this like from my mom, like she won't get a haircut, she won't get a haircut, she won't get a haircut. And then all of a sudden she'll just let anyone cut her hair. And you remember
like in desperation.
Yes. You remember how they used to have like those salons like right in the mall? You'd be walking by and you'd see people getting their haircut. Those are guaranteed to be haircuts that you regret. And yet I'm not the only person that has ever found themselves going in and saying, can you cut my hair? If these people have an opening in the middle of the mall, they are not the person to have cut your hair.
Right.
So now, that's a bad haircut.
If you're just getting like straight across the bottom, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then maybe you're going to be okay there. Maybe.
If you're getting bangs, no way.
Or I'm thinking about when you used to go to the hairdresser and they'd have all those books and like while you're waiting, you could thumb through and then you could point to a picture, almost guaranteed to be a bad haircut. If you don't know what you want your hair to look like before you go in, you're probably not going to be happy when you walk out.
And even those pictures are bad.
I know.
Yes. Yeah. You guys, I have so much hair history. I'm not even sure where to start, but I might, when I start talking, I might be a while. So settle in. So I grew up and my mom and my Mima always cut my hair. And so that's what I was used to. I didn't go to a salon until I was graduating from high school. And I used my graduation money to pay for it. So throughout my childhood, I never would have had a bad haircut except when I always had bangs and just long straight hair. Well, I decided I could cut my own bangs. And so the very first time I cut my own bangs, I wet my bangs, I pulled them down wet, cut them where I wanted them to be, and then my bangs dried and they were like an inch off my forehead. I'm not even joking. That was my first foray into cutting my own hair. Did I learn from this? Yes, I did. And I continued to cut my hair. I got better with my bangs. But one time I leaned over a candle when the power went out and my bangs caught on fire.
They were long bangs at that point.
Like you say, they weren't short enough, Mindy. They weren't short enough.
You guys. Cinch hair, that's just a special kind of smell that'll stick with you. Let's see, the first time, then we had the perms, right? Like, I know this isn't even like the first perm I got, it didn't take. I was staying home sick from school at my Mima's house. She gave me a perm because, I was sick. And then it didn't take, so she gave me one right on top of it to include perming my bangs twice in one day.
Oh my goodness.
That sucker had to grow out. So then my most embarrassing picture came out of that hairstyle.
Yeah.
That picture that I talked about previously on another podcast. So through the years, I have definitely gone through the gamut. When I was an adult, I really felt like I could do blonde highlights by myself. How hard could it be? Oh, yeah, it's hard. Even though my hair is light, I still ended up with some orange places and had to go pay to have it fixed. So now that's all the damage I've done to myself. When we moved to Pennsylvania, this was my first time that I really struggled with a stylist. And this was really just to get the blonde the way that I was used to having my blonde, the way from my favorite stylist that I've ever had, Haley in Knoxville. She just got my hair. Like, we clicked. I loved her. I hated moving away from her. And so in Pennsylvania, I went to a stylist and, I said all the same things I would say to Haley, and I would leave and my hair was darker and not bright, not not a cool blonde, not the things that I was wanting. And so I got up the nerve to go back and say, hey, and I showed her a picture of my own hair from when I had first walked in to see her.
Mm-hmm.
She goes, she said, oh, that's going to take a while to get your hair that light. And I'm thinking, that was me with the hair that I had when I came to see you just like a week ago.
Mm-hmm.
I never went back to her because throughout that, I even mustered up the courage to say, this is how it was.
Mm-hmm.
And you messed it up.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want to pay again. And she pretty much said it was my fault. And I just didn't go back. And from that point on, I decided traveling to Knoxville to see Haley on my way to visit Abby in Chattanooga was how I was going to get my hair done the whole time we lived in the Northeast. I was just not brave enough to find another person, but I had never been told by a stylist it was my fault. And, I just didn't, I don't know how I messed that up, but apparently I did.
Yeah.
Well, I'd love to see a post where we each put a picture of us with maybe like a childhood haircut, an odd.
Oh,
no,
awkward.
I've tried to destroy all those pictures.
Oh, no, we need to see it. We need to see it.
No. Yeah. One of your questions was your worst or your most extreme haircut. Do you remember when Katie Couric was so popular with her short hair?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
you didn't do that, did you?
Many women, unfortunately, tried her haircut, including myself. No.
Oh, I can't picture that, Marie.
No.
I've only known you with
I've tried to destroy
hair.
every single one of those pictures. So,
are you serious?
Luckily, that was taken at a time when people didn't take a lot of pictures, or done at the time when people didn't take so many pictures. You might get 3 pictures of yourself in a year. You weren't, documenting your
pre-iPhone days. In other words,
for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can't just pick up people. I mean, her haircut, everybody loved it. She was so cute. It fit her
Looked
face,
great on her.
and she probably had one of those hairstylists that said, "Okay, here's your face." And if my kids were to look up her now, they would say that was never a cute haircut, Mom. But it was a cute haircut at the time. People liked her hair.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
But no.
I do think that pixie cut has to be just the right person, because I love that cut too. But my daughter, when she came back from Europe, when she was there in college, she had long hair, halfway down her back. And she came home and she got a pixie cut. And I just couldn't understand why she would do that. She had these gorgeous long blonde hair, but I think she rocked it. She was one of those people that could wear that cut. I really liked it. So
yeah, it was not, no.
Yes.
And I've tried other short haircuts before. Since then, that was my worst one. But I've tried other short haircuts since that time, and just short hair is just not for me. One, I think short haircuts look deceivingly easy, but you actually have to put more time into them than longer hair. So, and we've already established the fact that I don't want to spend a lot of time on my hair, so it's not even going to work for who I am. Even if I had the best person in the entire world cut my hair short and it looked cute the day I left the salon, I'm not going to keep up with that.
Yeah, you are so right on that, because I just got my hair cut recently, and it's kind of a bob, sort of.
Cute.
And I had showed her a picture, and it was one of those with the beachy waves, and she said, "Oh, Julie, that is going to be way too hard. You're not going to like that." And I thought, it just looks like you've walked in off the beach and let it air dry, And she said, No. These people worked really hard to get it that way, and you're not going to like that. You're not going to want to do that. So I appreciated that the simplest of looks are often the most difficult to achieve.
Right. Marie, I have learned through trial and error and really bad haircuts that I'm not a short hair person either. It's just not me. It's not my signature look. It's not where I'm comfortable. And I think Julie's stylist from Memphis really said it best when she said, she looked at your face and your hair type, and then also your skill level, because you have to keep up whatever it is. So my 2 haircuts that I decided to be really trendy with, that I eventually grew out and was much happier. The 2 people that I followed was one, the Meg Ryan haircut and You've Got Mail.
I love her hair. Yes.
Oh my gosh. She's so adorable. And of course, in the 90s, the chunky highlights were the thing. And so I definitely had that haircut. It definitely made me look really old for what I was. It just did not go well with me. And then Reese Witherspoon in Sweet Home Alabama, that super cute layered short haircut. I did that. It actually was a very good look for me, but I cannot keep up with all those layers. You have to do something with them. And it was way too much work. So now my one rule of thumb is I tell my stylist, yes, I need it to be as long as possible to still fit into a rubber band to work out. Like all my hair has got to go back. So apart from that, I can have fun with my hairdo. It just needs to be able to go in a ponytail.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk a little bit about washing your hair daily. So when I was growing up, I never heard of people skipping days to wash. Like sometimes you'd wash your hair twice in a day, not think one thing of it. I mean, the more shampoo, the better. Now you read on Instagram, like, or I don't know if it's a thing anymore, but you used to read about no poo, like no shampoo, like people really going the total opposite extreme as the pendulum usually does. Now I think, you can settle into 2 or 3 shampoos a week, which is kind of what I've settled into, but I can see how less shampooing could be healthier for your hair.
Well, I was going to say one thing Mickey, my Memphis stylist, told me was never use shampoo straight. It's too strong, no matter what you're using. She said, put a little in your palm of your hand and dilute it first. And she said, that's all you need. She said, if you get your hair to feel that squeaky clean, you know what that feels like? She goes, it's too clean. She said, that means it's just stripped everything off your hair.
Oh, interesting.
And I've always remembered that. And you said that at the beginning of the episode, like less is better, that we don't need to use such harsh things. And she said shampoo was definitely not meant to be used full strength.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Now, one thing I do have trouble with, though, is in the summer. I mean, when you live in Tennessee and it's in the 90s and you go out and do any kind of activity, you can skip shampooing, but you still feel kind of gross. Like you could have cleaned off all your skin, even up to and around your hairline. But the fact that your hair was drenched in sweat for 2 hours under a hat, it's still going to feel yucky. So that... I find that I do have to shampoo it more often during the summer, but maybe I should dilute it.
Yeah.
Well,
I do too. In the summer, I sweat on my head more than anywhere else, so my hair can be soaking wet, dripping wet. So I just can't not wash that. I have to. I have to wash it. But in the winter, I could probably go three days between washings. Yeah.
There's a couple things I'll say. First, you have to get used to your hair not feeling absolutely clean. And it was a process for me to learn to go 3 to 4 days without shampooing. Also, the only way I can survive that is by dry shampoo. And I have finally narrowed it down to a dry shampoo that I feel like is healthier for my hair, not clogging my hair follicles or pores. It actually kind of cleans the hair, but it's by Living Proof and it's called Advanced Clean Dry Shampoo. It's very lightweight, doesn't weigh it down. And so it really does save me between shampoos. If I did not have that, I would be washing my hair every single day. Also, I will say there's some seasons, like especially if there's a lot of pollen outside, my hair is a little longer. If I feel like I've gotten a lot of pollen in my hair, I really do have to just wash that out. So I just think, if you can protect your hair, put it under a hat, that's super helpful to keep like pollutants out and things. Also, this was a mistake that I have made for years. I'm definitely a more is more kind of girl. Everything I've done, I went more makeup, more hair products, more hairspray, way too much hairspray and hair products. And so kind of like the skincare, I would say less is more with your hair. And learning to not put so much product in it that it's so weighed down and so full of gunk that you can't go 3 to 4 days without shampooing. And so some of the hairsprays, like they will really dry out your hair and it'll give you like a helmet head kind of feel. And there's no way you can take that for 3 to 4 days. So just a light, flexible hold, let your hair move, let it breathe, and let it be a little bit natural. So whatever your natural bent is for your hair, you really want to go with that and not fight against it. So Julie, you could have probably pulled off the beach waves if your hair were naturally wavy. Maybe that's a, great look for somebody that has naturally wavy hair, but trying to go with what you have is the best course, to keep everything healthier.
Yeah, I definitely think that's true. Well, we have down here, and she talks about to gray or not to gray. And I can tell, just like she had the biases against certain brands of shoes, I can tell that she has a bias against people letting themselves go gray. But Julie, you, I think, are maybe more current than she is in this area, because I think that you, one, look great with gray hair, but also you are following a trend of a lot of women letting their hair go gray. And so I don't know that she's really right in this aspect. What do you think about it when she read what she said, Julie?
Well, when you just said that, me being more current, I looked in the front of the book and it says copyright 2013.
Okay, so she wrote this a while ago.
Yeah, I thought this was much newer. So this was way before that trend started. But I don't know, I just decided to go gray because my hair was more than 50% gray and I was needing to color it almost every 3 weeks, but I didn't, because who could sit through that process every 3 weeks and pay that kind of money? And I just hated that I had gotten into that cycle of having to maintain something like that. And it was just too much. And my daughter encouraged me. She said, "Mom, just go gray, just go gray." So
Awesome.
it was not an easy process. It took a whole year because you actually just have to let it grow out and off, cut it off. So I had to have my hair a little shorter during that time. And I know a lot of people have tried and then they get so far and then they just can't do it. But I'm glad I did. I on the other hand, I realize that I look older to other people. I know I do. But to me, it's okay. It's like, at what point would I go gray? Like, I wouldn't want to still be coloring my hair at 80. So it's like, when is it going to happen? It might as well happen now, because it really is probably, 75% gray. It's still dark in the back, but that's it. So yeah, and it's easy. So I'm happy with it.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, first of all, you have dark hair, and dark hair tends to go gray a little bit earlier. Since I have had light hair or colored it light most of my life, I've asked the stylist before, is there like gray in there? And she'll say there's really not anything there. I don't know when I will start to get like a streak of gray, or I don't know, but I don't think I want to bother with the trying to cover all that up. I think I would just ask her, can you just incorporate it naturally or something?
Yeah.
Well, and I love what she says, like when not that hair coloring is so dramatic like plastic surgery, but she said at some point, and I have reached that point, it doesn't match the rest of me. My lines on my face or my neck or the backs of my hands, as my grandson pointed out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't know. It just didn't look natural anymore. And I think when your hair is mostly gray and you color it, you can tell it doesn't take the dye the same way. When you've just got strands of gray mixed in, that's very easy to cover. But the totally gray hair just doesn't take the dye the same. It doesn't look the same.
Right.
So I don't know. I thought, well, that looks totally unnatural too. So
having a good stylist for gray hair, it would really be a gift, I think, to help you through that process. And so, like you said, Marie, like, I think Marie and I both are very light with our hair color, and it's going to be probably an easier process to incorporate gray when that happens. And so I know my mom has had like every color hair naturally. Like, she was just blonde as a child It went very dark when she was in her 20s, and then it started going gray. So she colored it for years, and over time, it kind of frosting was kind of the way that women did their hair. But she let it go gray, white, silvery, whatever. It is beautiful. And she has gotten me excited for the day that my hair is the color of hers.
She does have beautiful hair.
Oh my goodness. She's like, I just finally stopped fighting it. So she does use products. She'll use like a purple shampoo to kind of help the tone and it not get brassy. But I mean, there's a way to take care of it and have it be beautiful. But really, like, I'm looking forward to having that grayish, white, blonde, silver, whatever mix it's going to be. In the future. And I'm just so thrilled that shift has happened in our culture, that it's more celebrated. I love Julie's hair. I think it's so adorable.
Thank you.
But also, like, you're stylish. Like, you carry it well. You keep it groomed. You always have it kind of cleaned up, and the cut fits your face and it fits your style. And so I just think, like, using what you have and taking care of it, and have a great attitude. That will shine more than everything else.
I wanted to talk about this that she says in The Art of Grooming. And tell me what you guys thought about this. She says, I'm always reminded that people notice your hair first, then your eyes and smile, and then sooner rather than later, your shoes. Somehow these are the areas we seem to focus on and use to make our first and often lasting assessment of a person's appearance and overall look. So, do you feel like you notice someone's hair first?
I think I do.
Okay. Then their eyes and smile. And then, again, she has such an obsession with shoes.
With the shoes.
I couldn't, sometimes I can tell you what shoes somebody had on.
I
but
know.
I just don't notice people's shoes that much. Do you think that this is just her own bias or no?
I do. Julie does.
You do, Julie?
Yeah, because I went to a brunch yesterday and everybody there was my age or older. And there's this one lady, she has long, beautiful gray hair and she is so stylish.
Ooh. And
she wears the cutest clothes, and she had on the most adorable shoes yesterday. And they were young looking, you know what I mean? Like, kind of platform, not anything crazy, like, but that was the first thing I said was how cute she looked, and especially her shoes. Like, I don't know. I just think that it's kind of rare to see older women in cute shoes. Okay. So I do notice.
So take note. If you don't like your hair, go get some great shoes, and maybe people will like.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, that's so interesting because I don't really notice other people's shoes. I mean, unless they're just really not matching the outfit or just totally worn to smithereens. But I mean, just in general, I'm not out there noticing everyone's shoes. So that's why I was surprised that she included that in the hair, smile, and eyes, So
yes.
We were even watching a show last night. And so I tried to think, okay, obviously I'm looking at their hair, their eyes, their smile. Okay, now what were they wearing on their feet? I don't know. But it could be that the camera wasn't panning down enough for me to have noticed.
Marie, I do feel like you would notice good athletic shoes, though.
I would.
I really do. I think you'd be like, hey, do you like that brand? How do those work on the pickleball court?
I would notice good, comfortable looking shoes.
Yes.
So anyways, it was just kind of funny. I just think that she's very biased towards coloring your hair, always going out with makeup, and your shoes.
Well, it wasn't shoes. That was her first chapter.
It was. She was very biased against shoes at that point too. So yeah.
Okay. Well, I have been convicted. Let me tell you a change that I have made since reading this book.
Okay.
A practical change. I went into my closet and I rearranged it and I went through it. And I took out the things that I'm not wearing. And I put my cute clothes that I never wear because I'm always in athletic clothes. I actually put my cute clothes that I see first when I walk into my closet to help encourage me to wear them.
Nice. And are you?
So I'm incorporating them more.
That's awesome.
Maybe 2 days a week. All right. The rest of the time, it's athletic. But also, I'm convicted. Like, I feel like I do have a good head of hair. I do go to the salon to make sure, the blonde is the way that I like it and it's healthy. but I don't wear it down and necessarily fix it a lot of the time. Again, kind of how often I dress cute, maybe 2 days a week, is about how often my hair is down and actually like I'm cute. Otherwise, it's like this in a ponytail. So I do want to actually use what I have. So I'm trying to wear my cuter clothes. I'm trying to like let my hair down and actually fix it and let it look nice, because I do have it. I just am not maybe taking care of it.
That's good, Mindy. That's really good. Yeah.
Good.
All right, listeners, we said that we were going to do beauty and makeup, but I really think we're going to have to put that off till next month, because I know there's going to be a lot to say on that. And I really want to get some good tips. So we want to do that justice. So let's save beauty and makeup tips for next month. Listeners, we'd love to hear what you think about skincare, what you think about hairstyles. You can find us on Instagram at Midlife Matters Podcast, or you can email us at midlifematterspodcast@gmail.com. But before we go, we want to do I'm a Fan. All right, Mindy, what are you a fan of this week?
I am a huge fan of some Target shorts for your young men in your family, young men, old men, whatever men. This is kind of a Lulu dupe. I don't know what it's an actual dupe for, but Abby was telling me, oh yeah, that's just like the ones at Lulu right now. Well, these shorts from Target for my boys are perfect. They are called men's stretch woven shorts. They're 7 inches. It's by the brand All in Motion. They're $20 a piece, but they're like just the right length. They're a lightweight athletic material, but they look really good, and there's great colors. So like Nathan got a light blue pair, and then it's listed as gray, but it's actually more of a creamy khaki color. And what my boys really like about these shorts is they have zipper pockets for their phones. So like that's kind of the new thing, is there's just enough stretch. They're very comfortable. They're not too short. They're not too long. They have a drawstring waist. So they're athletic, but they actually just look really good. And they're just $20 a piece.
Oh, that's good.
I am a huge fan of these shorts at Target right now. They're new this season, and I've bought my boys several pair.
All right. That's a really good recommendation, Mindy. All right, Julie, what are you a fan of this week?
All right, I'm a fan of a cordless LED table lamp. On my back porch, I was only able to bring a certain amount of furniture from our old house. So I had to get rid of our big dining table that we had. And I've missed being able to eat on the back porch, like to sit down at a table and eat. So I had this table that was in my garage that I didn't know what to do with. And so I got my son to help me move it out there and put it kind of in a corner that was kind of just dead space. And I love it. So I have a tablecloth on it, some chairs. And it was just kind of dark. I used to have a lamp in that corner, and now I really can't put a floor lamp with a table. So I was looking for something that could be on the table to light it up, but wouldn't have to plug in. So I found this perfect lamp, and it's brass. So it looks like an indoor nice lamp, not super tall. It looks like you'd see maybe at a restaurant on a table. And it's rechargeable. So you plug it in. There's a little outlet like in the base of the lamp, and it's got a dimmer. So I think it has 3 levels of brightness, and it's supposed to last for several hours. I haven't had it long enough to know how long it lasts between charges yet, but it's really cute. I think it comes in brass, black, and nickel.
Oh.
And I got the brass. It's kind of an antique brass.
Yeah. That sounds really
cute. I really like it.
Yeah. 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 It's really hard if you don't have a plug nearby, or like you said, if you can't have a floor lamp. Like, they're making better options now.
Definitely.
Yeah. I'm a fan this week is something similar. So I really wanted string lights in my backyard, but I didn't want to have to. There are some outlets on my porch, but I didn't want to have to run a big cord and then run it over to where I wanted the string lights. It would have been, I don't know. I just didn't want those long extension cords. So I was at Costco, and they had solar string lights. And so you just have this base that's in the ground that kind of absorbs the sun. And it doesn't even have to be sunny that day. It must just absorb the light. And then when it gets dark, those string lights just come on their own, and then they're off by the next morning.
Was one string enough, or did you?
No, I ended up having to get two strings, I guess. But still,
And they're
that's
just
not
separate. They're just, you don't connect them. They're just separate.
No, I don't think you can connect the strings.
Okay.
Because I think that each base probably only charges that many.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Bulbs.
Yeah. That's good to know. I've been looking at those too.
Yeah. All right, Julie and Mindy, this was a great discussion. I feel convicted to try a few of these things. And if you guys try anything, it would be good to have updates. I loved your update on the argan oil, Mindy. It's good to know, what we try and what does work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We'll talk to you next week.
All right.
Sounds great. Bye.
Bye. We're so happy you joined us today. You can find the show notes for this episode at midlifematterspodcast.com. Also, please tell a friend about the show and help them hit the free subscribe button on their favorite podcast app. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at Midlife Matters Podcast. That's where we post pictures and stories about all the things we talk about in each episode. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.